Hello, everybody. Today I want to talk about the game called Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, that's a game that I finished like a week ago on my PS5. What I would give it as the score, it would be probably like 7.5 out of 10. I did nearly drop it in the first hour of the gameplay, but I kept with it, and in the end, I did like it a lot. The first hour, what I didn't like and what I enjoyed. What I didn't like and why I nearly dropped it is you get dropped into a world that is a weird world. The first couple of minutes of the gameplay is just cutscenes. You don't really get much to play with it. This whole setup of the world, I kind of didn't like it. The reason for it is that it seemed very cliche or very overused. I wasn't getting invested. What I'm basically saying is it's very predictable. But that is the point when it started getting more interesting for me because you end up proving you get attacked and the dynamics there between the characters felt good. They felt like they had a reason behind them and the goal. And that's where it started clicking and where I started enjoying it. And when you actually see the door, which everybody worships, and you realize that that door is actually an automated system talking to you, basically, and everybody has been acting like whatever that automated door says. That's the word of the god. It's also kind of a cliche, but it's kind of an interesting idea, and I liked it. When it was like, okay, this is corrupt and you can't enter, now I finally had goal of, oh, hey, we need to do something about the corruption. After that, the game started clicking. One thing I want to say about the actual combat, I'm really not used to playing games with the controller. It was pretty hard to aim and hit the spots that I needed to spot. It was really frustrating. That wasn't really much of a game's fault, more like the fault of me not being comfortable with the controller. That changed when I went into the skill tree and I found the skill where it slows down time when you're aiming. Without that skill, I probably wouldn't be able to finish the game. That skill carried me. Outside of that, I do have a point to complain about, and that is just the weaponry itself. When you start the game, you get your hunter's bow, and then you also get the mission to get a tripcaster. If I'm not mistaken, the only actual time a weapon is spoken about in a quest is the tripcaster. It is never mentioned again. It is never explained to you what different weapons are, if you need different weapons, if they're worth it, or how do you get them, what is the upgrade system. Then I remember I was killing the enemies and I was like, okay, this is not all doing that much damage. I'm wondering if there's like a better weapon. Then I went to the merchant and the merchant was selling just weapons with no real easy way to compare between them. When I'm, for example, playing Elden Ring, I don't usually buy weapons of the merchants. I usually just find them in the world. And I thought that this would be the same, but that resulted in me not having a better weapon in a very long time and being really confused about it. That made the game a lot less entertaining to me, I feel like. Then, as for one of the reasons I also enjoyed the game more is that I usually have a different playstyle when I play games. And that is the reason that lately I haven't been playing that many games in general. I always like to like min max everything, optimize everything, and I always like to not leave a stone unturned and loot absolutely everything. That tendency of mine results in me not enjoying games at all. When I started playing Horizon, this was the first game I got on PS5, which I bought because I wanted to go into gaming a bit more again. When I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like, no, just stop. You're going to play as you want. If you don't want to do side quests, you don't do them. Try to have as much fun and play as casually as you can. That worked because I enjoyed the game a lot more that way. I would have probably dropped the game if I didn't do that. I basically played through the main story. As for the like side quests, I only did like 3 or 4 side quests I remember, and those 3 and 4 I did like, although one side quest at the end had the most potential but also didn't deliver at all. That was the one with the Venetia, I think, was the name of the NPC that asked to help get the king out of the Shadow Carja territory. The first part is going and finding somebody to help because there are killers out to kill him. So you learn about the whole religious conspiracy there. It is really interesting to me and I liked it. But at the end of the quest, it was setting up for a very, very big fight. This was the part where they're forcing you to use traps. The only time I used a trap in the game was in that mission. I put like 3 or 4 fire traps. there were 4 or 5 people. All of them got killed with the trap. And then there was a big machine and like a guy and beat that. And that was the whole army that went to get the king back to the kingdom. And I was like, did did the game bug out or what happened here? Because there should have been a lot more fighting and a lot more enemies here. And there were just weren't. They missed the mark there a lot. One of the frustrating points to me was actually healing herbs. Outside of potions, that's basically the only way you heal. There are different types of herbs. It would just take a long time because half of the herbs weren't healing herbs, and the only ones I needed were healing herbs, and I was just kind of getting frustrated that I would be getting different ones for no reason because I had exactly zero use for them. One of the more frustrating parts about the game for me was the climbing system or the parkour system. It was done in a way where you could clearly see where you're meant to jump and hook into, but it was so 50-50. It felt like you're forcing me to be on this exactly one spot and jump from this exact one spot to this one more exact one spot because like there's nothing else to jump to. It's the very linear. And yet I'm standing here. I need to jump here. And I jump. And you just don't register that. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. And I don't want to even count how many times I died because of an accidental jump to the cliff, but actually falling down, or like those zip lines, jumped to the zip line because that's the only way to get on it, and miss for like a half a centimeter or a millimeter, and for some reason it doesn't register, and you fall down and die. At least make it more robust where like you can't misclick or misjump. Or go into the other direction and make it hard deliberately. Don't do a mix of them. It feels buggy. The other frustration point I had is the inventory was always full. I really don't enjoy hunting animals in games. Didn't like being forced to do that. It's a huge world full of wilderness. There probably should be more animals running around. I remember going around searching for boars and haven't been able to find them. That was really frustrating. I was like, this shouldn't be this much of a hard thing to do. It resulted in my inventory for potions, for modifications, for resources being pretty much always full. The skill system was kind of weak. I didn't even bother upgrading half the skills there. The whole override functionality got pretty stale pretty soon. The only thing I use the override for is the mounts, which are pretty cool and pretty useful. Although sometimes a bit clunky to control. I just basically never overrode anything. The visuals of the game I loved. I played the remastered version on PS5. It ran good. It looked good. Beautiful. Loved it. It felt amazing that I could have those visuals and also the performance. Felt great. Final verdict for this. Beginning of the story is weak, then it continues to be better, mysterious. I haven't even talked about Silence, which was one of my favorite characters in the game, and the curiosity of it and everything felt really good. It is really entertaining to explore the whole world and the old recordings of Project Zero Dawn and Gaia and Hades. And once the gameplay clicks, it's good. A lot of stuff hold the game back, but at the same time, the core of the game is still fun, and that's why I'm giving it a 7.5. Would I play the sequel to that? I would. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.